Hello there. So there is this game called Call of Duty 4. Having been awarded the title Game of the Year 2007 in the DICE Awards, it used to be quite a popular first-person shooter with a very large amount of players enjoying the shooting-centered gameplay. That's not what I'm here to talk about though. I'm here to talk about a legendary piece of history that happened within the Code Jumper mod, or CJ for short, for this game. It is a story of incredible achievement and of the limits being pushed to absolute perfection. Before we get fully into it though, we first need to establish some basic theory behind the mod. As the title implies, Code Jumper is about jumping. Using guns in a Call of Duty game? No, it's jumping time. There are 3 things necessary to know about Code Jumper's gameplay mechanics before we get into the nitty-gritty. Number 1. Strafe Jumping. You may have heard of this technique from other games. Basically, if you jump kinda like this, while holding W and A on your keyboard, you can jump further than if you just jump straight. Once you performed a strafe jump, you can keep it going in the air to maintain more speed as you're cruising through the air. Number 2. FPS Switching. Because of how Call of Duty 4's engine works, your frames per second value has an effect on your movement. The commonly used values are 333 FPS for height, 125 FPS for speed on the X and Y axis, and 250 FPS is something in between. Players can set up binds that limit their maximum FPS to these amounts, which allows them to switch in the middle of a single jump several times, creating some very complicated techniques. Number 3. Bouncing. If there is an object in a map slanted kinda like this, you can jump on it and while keeping your momentum going forwards, you can get a boost going upwards. This boost is based on your falling speed, so if you bounce from a platform higher up, you will get a larger boost. Those are the 3 main components that make the Code Jumper mod for Call of Duty 4 what it is. Now, if you have been around the Call of Duty 4's Code Jumper community for a while, you have probably heard of this custom bounce, often referred to as Dark Glass Roof. What players mean by that is this. You are now seeing the last bounce on the Code Jumper map MP_dark, a map made by Key that came out in 2011. I am now going to show you how is this bounce performed normally. You start off with a strafe jump going to the left, you switch to a strafe going to the right, and as you bounce, you once again switch your strafe to the left and then once more to the right, allowing you to reach the finish of the map. You land on this platform, which takes you to the map's finish, which is inside this box. That's not all there is to this box though. If you can get enough speed and height after the bounce, it is possible to land on this tiny little ledge, just like that. This gives you an option to take a route which allows you to get to the roof. To get to the ledge, the mapper made it so that you need to use an RPG rocket launcher right as you bounce, giving you a nice height boost. It is a technique commonly used in Code Jumper to get more height on not only bounces but also regular jumps. In January 2013 though, Key, the MP Dark mapper himself, would surprise the world when in the video Extreme Shortcuts and Bounces 5, he was showcased doing this. Key made it to the ledge without the use of an RPG, pushing further what was thought to be possible on this bounce. It was a very impressive land, but since then, the boundaries of what people thought was possible have been pushed even further. Later in 2013, the players Judy, who's nowadays known as Sardonyx, and Freaks, thought that it might be actually possible to land on the very roof, so they started trying it. Just looking at the finish box, there is a substantial height difference between the ledge and the roof. Through the use of one little trick though, it could actually be possible. This trick is often referred to by players as Hex FPS. Now, I know what you're thinking. You hear the part of the word hex, which makes you wonder if hacking is the trick making the landing possible. Well, that is not exactly the case. Earlier, I mentioned that there are 3 FPS values that players use: 125, 250, and 333. What I didn't mention, however, is that there are more values than that. The ones that help on this specific MP Dark bonds, which players have used different combinations of, are 142, 166, and 500. The way COD4 Code Jumper maps work is that they are made to be passable only by using combinations of the values 125, 250, and 333. They can be made easier if you use the Hex FPS though. A playthrough of a map is considered to be done 100% legit only when the standard FPS values are used. Using Hex FPS to complete a map is not considered cheating, however, your run won't be considered 100% legit. Speedruns of maps using Hex FPS are considered not as impressive as 100% legit runs, even though they still count as legit runs. When it comes to finding or landing new shortcuts or custom bonuses in maps though, the use of Hex FPS is welcome. New players often learn about Hex FPS way too early into their Code Jumper careers. They end up using it too much, which results in their slower improvement rate, and experienced players' sad, disappointed facial expressions. Don't use Hex FPS as much, please and thank you. Back to the main topic though. Using these Hex FPS values, Freaks and Duty were getting quite close to the roof. What they didn't know is that they discovered something that would go on to become one of the most infamous bonuses in the game's history, as over the next several years it would become the most contested for bones by pretty much every pro player in the game. Moving on to 2014 now, something interesting happened that year. The Polish player Kev was playing on the 3xp Code Jumper server, putting tries into landing the roof. While being spectated by many players, he actually managed to land it, which was an incredible achievement. There was no video proof of it though. When players try to land new shortcuts or bonuses, they usually record a so-called demo within the game, which serves as proof of it actually happening and allows the landing to be later showcased in a YouTube video. Kev did not manage to get a demo of himself performing the bones, so even though there were witnesses who saw him successfully do it, there was no proof of it. Because of that, it was not counted as an actual land. Thanks to this event and another event revolving around a thing called FPS, which I won't be getting into in this video, more attention will be brought to the bonds than ever before, as players were now competing for who could be the first one to land it with proof. This is personally one of my fondest memories of Code Jumper. Just sitting on a server, watching the best players in the game grind it for hours and hours, as well as giving it a whole bunch of tries myself. I managed to join the meme side of it as well, with this extremely hilarious April Fool's video. As time went on though, no one was able to do it. No matter how much time would players sink into it, it just wouldn't happen. Nobody was able to replicate what Kev managed to do, which was making people question the legitimacy of his roof landing. Today it is still not fully understood what exactly happened. The Code Jumper community has over time overall decided that at the time of Kev's land of the bonds, the server that he pulled it off on had some changed settings, which would make it easier to land on the roof, which means that even if there was a demo of it, it probably would not count as a legitimate landing. Just to be clear, the 3xp Code Jumper server's settings are completely standard now. No need to worry about your jumps not being legitimate while playing on the server. It is a thing of the past. It seemed like MP Dark's last roof might be impossible, as for multiple years after 2014 it would still not be landed. There was one man, however, who didn't let that stop him. The man was Duty, who was now known as Sardonyx, who by then had arguably become the best player in the game. He kept trying and trying to land the bonds, until in July 2017 he achieved this legendary accomplishment. Sardonyx landed MP Dark's roof. At the time of me making this video, after 4 years, it is still the hardest bonds to have ever been landed in Call of Duty 4's Code Jumper. Truly an incredible achievement. Right now, you can see a clip from a montage called Some Bones is Done, which came out in early 2019, that features some of the most challenging bonuses to have ever been landed. In terms of sheer difficulty, MP Dark's Roof Lending by Sardonyx beats them all. There's no system in place which would allow for comparison between difficulty for bonces. This being the hardest bonce lending ever comes from Sardonyx himself. Through his incredible skill and solid understanding of the game, built over the course of many years, he is a pretty good judge of difficulty. With him arguably being the best co-jumper player, his opinion on this being the hardest bonce ever is generally trusted and respected amongst the community. And this is where this legendary piece of history ends. Thank you for making it this far into the video. It is my first time making something like this, so I hope you found it at least somewhat entertaining. So, thank you for watching and take care. See you later with maybe more videos like this.